Do you know some tips that'll help you prevent your anxiety attacks? Stay tuned and watch this video to find out how can you prevent your anxiety attack from coming on full-fledged. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's Angel, the Psych via mental demic. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're old here, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about 8 ways that we can prevent an anxiety attack. I know you feel like, how do you do that? Because when those things come on, those things come on. But there are a few things that you can do that'll prevent you from having an anxiety attack. At least they work for me and a few of my other patients, so check this out. Number 1, know your triggers. Know what things you're around or people you're around or whatever it is your triggers are. Start paying attention to right when you start feeling that anxiousness that's going to flow over into an anxiety attack. Start paying attention to what those triggers are. It's going to be life-changing for you. I know someone that told me that their trigger was when they were around certain people. I don't know what those people did, when she was around them, but every time she got around those people, she had anxiety attacks. So what she did, stop being around those people. That's one thing that she could get rid of to prevent her from having anxiety attacks. Sometimes people are your triggers and you don't know it because you're like, oh, this is a friend, this is a family member. But every time you're around these people, you're anxious and you're like feeling panicky. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Can't be friends with them, or you gotta, love them from a distance. Gotta do what you gotta do to protect you. Number 2, you have to exercise. It's something about the endorphins going in the body. I don't really want to get into that because it's very scientific, but what you do need to know is you need to exercise. Treadmill, walking, anything just to get those endorphins going in your body, you need to do it. You can see me, I'm always working out. Why? It's because I want to look good, but also it's more mental than anything. Just getting up, going to work out in the morning, it sets the tone for my day and I'm like, good, I don't feel super anxious. Number 3, stop not planning. People don't plan, and for the anxious person, that's not a good thing. Because when you don't plan, what are you doing? You're rushing. And when you're rushing, what is happening? Your adrenaline is going up. You late somewhere, you driving in traffic sporadically, whatever the case may be, trying to get to where you're going or trying to do what you have to do. But because you didn't plan to give yourself enough time, now you're anxious. And when you're an anxious person, outside of the normal limits of anxiety, when you have crossed over into that anxiousness and anxiety attacks and panic attacks, you have to do things differently to keep from going into those spaces. And planning is one of those big things you got to do. You got to plan. Plan ahead of time, make a schedule, and try to stick to it. It's going to help you from being super anxious from running late and stuff like that. Now, this is a hard one for a lot of people. Staying away from caffeine and energy drinks. When I was first in my acute stage of my anxiety, I couldn't drink caffeine, energy drinks, anything like that. Now I'm good. I can have caffeine, whatever, I'm good because my body is not in an anxious state. I went to therapy. I dealt with my triggers. I dealt with the things that was giving me anxiety. So my body is not in an anxious state anymore. So I can have caffeine. That works for me. It might not work for you. If you have not done the work to heal, then sorry, not sorry. No caffeine or energy drinks for you. Sorry. This one is hard for the anxious person. You got to find a way to get some proper sleep. I know we don't like to get a hook and addicted on medications. At least I don't. Even when it's not a prescription medication, I don't like taking, unless it's vitamins and minerals, I don't like taking a lot of stuff every day. But when I was in my acute stage of my anxiety, Tylenol PM, melatonin, Benadryl, whatever it took so that I could sleep, I was taking it. Not all at one time. Don't say Angel the Psych NP told me to take all this. No. Some nights I had to use melatonin. If it didn't work, then I tossed and turned or whatever. The next night I was like, okay, the melatonin didn't work. Let me try the Tylenol PM. It was different nights when I was trying different things, but whatever worked to help me get to sleep that night, that's what I did. And I talked in other videos about having that sleep regimen. This is part of the sleep regimen if you can't sleep. Got to use some sleep aids sometimes to do that. I know this one that a lot of people don't, respect, or they don't want to go to because they feel a type of way about going to therapy. But if I didn't go to therapy, I don't know where I'd be right now. Because baby, honey, child, when you have anxiety attacks and panic attacks, when I started having them, I told myself, I can't be a mental health nurse practitioner. I can't do this. Like, how I'm going to take care of people when I feel like this? What I'm going to tell these people? That we need to do something together because I feel just like you. I was like, I can't do this. I went to therapy and I did the work. Part of dealing with anxiety and preventing anxiety attacks is taking control. I don't see a lot of people talking about that, but that's really what happens is that we let our fears get out of control, our worries get out of control, and we don't do the work to see what is it exactly that's bothering me. When I first started having my panic attacks, one of the things that was scary for me, it was right on a break of COVID. I was feeling this anxious like this. If I hadn't started feeling this panic and the pandemic happened before my panic attacks, I would have been in that hospital, not worried about it, wearing masks, because, we nurses, we wear N95s all the time anyway. So it was no big deal. That's why you see a lot of nurses was just, going to work. They was trying to find where the money was residing at, and they was heading there. But me, because I was in a panic state at the very beginning of it, my mind was telling me, how am I gonna go take care of patients like this? These patients sick, I might mess up. I might do something. My mask might come off. My mind was going into a state of worry of all the worst things that could happen in a COVID room dealing with a patient. And I didn't want to, I was scared. I wasn't gonna go. But I went to therapy, and with 3 months of therapy, I started having therapy in February. By April, I was on contract. I was out. I went where the money reside. So I did the work I did in therapy. I took control. When I was scared to go outside, my therapist said, tonight at 7:00, go drive around the block, because I had this fear of driving at night and also driving in the car by myself. So one of the assignments she gave me to do was to go and do it. I was shaking like a leaf walking to the car, but I did it. I did the work to do it. I didn't let the fear and, everything take over. And I went and did it. And like I said, I circled the block a few times. And before you know it, your girl was back out there. So you have to go to therapy. You have to go to therapy to get better from anxiety. You have to. Ain't no way around it. End of story. Period. My last one is this. If you are in that moment and you've recognized your triggers and everything else, you've tried all the things that I've mentioned here to prevent the anxiety attack from coming on, and you still feel like it's you going there, like you about to have one, find you some mantras to say to yourself. The favorite one that I like is, I am not in danger. I am not in danger. Tell yourself that over and over again, because what happens is that flight or flight is being activated and your body starts thinking that you're in fear and it's protecting you. But if you tell yourself, I'm not in danger, I'm not in danger, I'm not in danger, it may work for you. It worked for me to help me calm down. And I recommend you try it too. Try some of these tips to prevent yourself from going into a full-blown anxiety attack, and to help yourself throughout your day to keep from being in this anxious state all day. You got to be in tune to what's happening with you outside of the physical symptoms that you're feeling. You got to try to figure out what's happening mentally. What happened right before this? Start being in tune to what's happening in your body. You got to. That's period with everything. You need to be in tune with yourself. So like, subscribe, turn on your notification. It's Angel the Psych and P via the Mental Demic. Thanks for watching. Ciao.